All right, let's talk about something we all feel, that constant hum of modern life. We're not going to promise some magical de-stress button. Instead, we're going to get way more practical and talk about a skill called regulation. Let's dive in.
You know that feeling, right? Where you're not exactly panicking, but you're definitely not relaxed either. It's kind of like your engine is always idling just a little too high. You've got the notifications, the deadlines, that conversation you keep putting off, and your system is just stuck in go mode. If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at why we feel so stuck on. Then, we'll get into the super simple science of your body's gas and brake pedals. After that, we're diving into two really powerful, easy tools to hit that brake, how to actually weave them into your day, and what it all adds up to.
Look, with this constant feeling of being on the move, it's so important to get this one thing straight. The goal isn't to eliminate stress. Stress is basically just energy to get things done. The real superpower is learning how to come back from that high alert state.
And that's exactly what we mean by regulation. I know, it's not a very exciting word, but it is an absolute game changer. It's the skill of steering your body back from that place of overload, where every email feels like a crisis, to a state where you can actually think clearly and your body isn't just ringing the alarm bell all day long. To do that, we just need to understand the basics of our own operating system. And I promise no med school is required here. Just think of your nervous system like a car with a gas pedal and a brake. It really is this simple. Your gas pedal is your sympathetic system. That's what gives you the juice, the focus, that let's do this feeling before a big presentation. The brake, on the other hand, is your parasympathetic system. And this part's really key. The brake isn't about falling asleep. It's about being able to take calm, focused action because your body feels safe. So here's the thing. Most of us are pros at hitting the gas. We pretty much live with our foot on the floor. The real problem is we've forgotten how to use the brake during the day. We just go, 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 and by the end of it, we're completely wiped out. Regulation is all about building these little off-ramps during the day so we don't just crash at night. So how do we send that "it's okay to slow down" signal? Well, we use the main information highway between our brain and our body, the vagus nerve. You don't need to know all the biology, just know this. When you intentionally make your exhale longer than your inhale, you are sending a direct message up this nerve that says, hey, things are relatively safe down here. And your body really truly listened. Okay, let's put this into practice with our first tool. I want you to think of this as your body's own built-in de-escalate button. It's actually something you already do naturally when you yawn or stretch. We're just gonna do it on purpose. It's called the physiological sigh. All right, let's just walk through this. First, take a nice, easy inhale through your nose. Now, right at the very top of that breath, without letting any air out, take in one more little sip of air, just to really fill your lungs. And then, just let it all go with a long, slow, relaxed exhale through your mouth. That's one. Doing this just 4 to 6 times sends a surprisingly powerful signal to your whole system to just calm down. Now, a couple of quick tips here. This isn't about taking some huge, heroic breath. It's all about the rhythm, that double inhale, then the long, slow exhale. If you start to feel a little dizzy, just slow it down or take a break. The goal here is gentle, not forced. And what's cool is you'll often feel a real shift, like your shoulders dropping an inch or your thoughts getting a little quieter. Okay, tool number 2 is what we call the micro pause. You know, I used to think of rest as something I earned at the end of the day, but that's all wrong. Micro pauses are the fuel you need during the day. They're like little pit stops that keep you from overheating. And yeah, 60 seconds is all it takes. So here's how you do it. For the first 10 seconds, just focus on relaxing your face. Unclench your jaw. For the next 10, widen your gaze. Look out a window or just soften your focus. This tells your brain you're in a safe environment. Then, for about 30 seconds, do 2 of those physiological sighs we just learned. And for the last 10 seconds, just a tiny little movement. Shake out your hands, twist your spine gently. That's it. 1 minute. Okay, so we've got these 2 fantastic, simple tools, but now for the real question. How do we actually make them a part of our day so it doesn't just feel like another thing on the to-do list? Let me tell you about Marta. She's a project manager, and her default setting was everything is an emergency. After just 2 weeks of practicing this stuff, she told me the biggest change was that she didn't shout in her head anymore. The deadlines were all still there, but that constant layer of panic was gone. Her words were, "It's as if I took off 5% of the noise."
I mean, think about that. 5% less noise every single day, that's life-changing.
So, here's a simple rhythm you could try. A few sighs in the morning just to start the day right. A 60-second micropause around midday, maybe right before you tackle a tough task. A few more sighs after lunch to beat that slump, and one last micropause before you clock out to actually leave work at work. And remember, this is a rhythm, not a religion. Some days you'll do them all, some days you'll just do one. It all counts. One more thing. What happens if you try this and think, I don't feel anything? The most common mistake is that we're aiming for this perfect state of zen. That's not the goal. The real goal is to just be half a tone quieter. Sometimes the only proof it's working is that you went 10 seconds without thinking about that one stressful thing. And believe me, that is a huge win.
Okay, and this is a really, really important point. These tools are amazing for managing everyday stress, but they are not a substitute for medical advice. If you're dealing with frequent panic attacks, a constant feeling of disconnection, fainting spells, or heart palpitations, please talk to a doctor. And of course, if you have any respiratory issues or you're pregnant, just be gentle with these practices. Your comfort always comes first.
All right, let's tie all of this together. What is the one big idea you should walk away with from all of this?
It's this: stop trying to fight stress like it's some kind of enemy. Stress is just energy. Your job isn't to get rid of it. Your job is to regulate it. To become a skillful driver of your own system, knowing when to hit the gas and, just as important, knowing when and how to gently, intentionally tap the brake.
In these techniques, the sigh and the micropause, they aren't just little life hacks or tricks. I want you to think of this as basic hygiene for your nervous system. Seriously, it's just like brushing your teeth for your dental health. These are the small, consistent things you do that prevent much bigger problems down the line. So, I'll leave you with this question. Remember Marta's 5%. Just take a second and think about it for yourself. What could you do with just 5% less internal noise every day? What kind of space would that open up in your work, in your relationships, in your ability to just enjoy being alive? That's the real power here. Finding your way back to yourself, one breath at a time.
Don't let this insight fade away. To help you remember, I've designed a specific visual anchor for this episode. Grab the infographic from the link below and put it where you can see it. And if you want the full operating system for your mind, get the Happyhacking book on Amazon. Join the movement by subscribing, and I'll see you next week with another hack. Now, click here to keep upgrading your brain.